Happy Thursday! So excited, you guys. We have an interesting topic, and I'm excited to chat about it because I think it's been like probably one of the most popular topics when it comes to people relocating here or looking here. And yeah, it's going to be a good one. I do have coffee for this entire thing. I did use a straw as a spoon. Um, but okay, so let's pull up our notes. We had a busy day today, you guys. It was great. I'm blessed, but busy. Okay. And for those of you possibly just joining, we are going to be talking about one of the biggest topics going on in Florida right now, which is that ballot coming in 2026. So this is going to be great to talk about and chat about. Pull it up. Righty. Getting it going. We'll start here in a second. Alrighty. Perfect. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining me and happy Thursday. Today we're going to dive into the chat and go ahead and talk. And of course, if you guys have any questions throughout the live, please let me know and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you guys have. But I have a quick question for you before we even get started. But if you could wave a magic wand, let's say, over cutting property taxes on the bill and maybe save you about 60%, what would you think about that? Well, fun fact, that's actually what's being rumored to happen this November. That's what's on the ballot. That's what we're looking towards. So, Florida government is actually debating this exact thing on the 2026 ballot. And tonight we're going to be breaking down what exactly that means for your wallet, your home, and also your neighborhood. But welcome back to the channel. Hi, my name is Demi Judd, and I'm so glad you guys get to hang out with me tonight. And if you weren't able to make it tonight and you're watching this and it's already happened, I'm excited you joined us for today and your night or day or morning. But my name is Demi Judd, and I'm a local, born and raised in the area, and I love helping families grow roots here in my hometown. And so tonight, I really wanted to talk about property taxes. But of course, I understand that property taxes and legislation sessions sound like, really good cause for insomnia, right? Well, no, I promise you tonight is going to be light, easy, and super easy to understand. My more important item that I really want to show you guys is how it's going to save you some serious money. And sorry. And we're also going to talk about homestead exemption. I thought I was about to sneeze, you guys. That was very, very close. But we're coming from to you live. That's why I need the coffee, you guys. That's why we're coming to you live here in St. Johns County. Whether you're a first-time homebuyer or you're a Floridian already enjoying your Disney days, a major deadline is going to be happening as well in March. And we'll talk about that one because you can't afford to miss it. But let's first talk about what's on the schedule for today. What exactly are we going to be talking about? How are you going to break it down? So here's really what you're in for. Let's give you a little bit of a roadmap on what we're going to be talking about today. So first, we're going to be talking about what's on the tax menu. So what are three big changes that Florida lawmakers want to put on the 2026 ballot for November to vote on? Now, we're going to go pretty in depth with that, what that means, what to look for, everything like that, but make it where it's more understandable and not in the high don't understand what they're talking about terms. Also, second, we're going to be talking about and explaining homestead exemption, and there's a homestead secret for first-time home buyers. So we'll be able to share that with you guys, and you could save a lot of money, like a lot of money. Not even discounting what's happening with the ballot and what's going to be happening there as well. And then finally, we're going to be talking a little bit on, does it make sense to keep your house, to sell it, to break down with the new laws that are happening in place? Is staying in Florida basically a no-brainer? So drop a hello in the comments if you're here, or if you have questions in regards to this, let me know what part of Florida you're from or the U.S. you're looking at it from. And we'll go into this. I also have resources of where I've gathered everything. And I'll put that as well in all of the description as we come up. Hi, Grace. How are you? I'm super excited. So I love to shout out anyone who pops up, but Grace has a home that is going to be done next month. So we're really excited, coming from Tennessee all the way here. But resources I used was the Florida House of Representatives. I used the Florida State Senate, and then Florida Realtors and Florida Policy Institution. So this is not just Demi talking, which I talk quite a bit. But this is about kind of breaking down those main items. And I have my notes over here. So if you keep seeing me point over there, it's making sure that I got the correct information for you guys, because if you didn't notice, I don't work for the government. I'm a local realtor who's honestly just trying to make living here a little bit easier, a little bit more understanding, saving you guys money along the way, and becoming a friend in the process. So topic one, we're going to be talking about the menu. So this is exactly what is going to be on the ballot and what's proposed for. So the leaders are looking for some major tax reforms on the amendment for November 2026 ballot. And here are the three heavy hitters. And I'm going to break down these as well, because going through them so fast, it's not going to be fair to anyone for me to just be like, here you go. All right. So first one, we're going to have the HJR 201. This is the straight elimination plan. This is literally them trying to obliterate property taxes. But of course, there's a lot of explanation that needs to go into that. This is the most aggressive proposal that they're having, and one that's most talked about on social media. I'm sure you've heard of it. Everyone's talking about it. I mean, even you could see from my picture for this video, me and Ron DeSantis even talked about it, and he's not that large. He's 5'11", and I'm not that short. I'm 5'3". Just wanted to clear some stuff up for you guys. But the change, it would completely exempt homestead properties from non-school property taxes. So what is the homestead property? We're going to go into that a little bit more, but that's your personal property. It's your homestead. That is where you live. That is not where you rent. That is not where your investment is. This is completely like you live there. This is your residence. This is where you are, and you get tax exemptions from that, which we'll go into a little bit more. But it's being exempted from all non-school property taxes, but it gets kind of fuzzy too. So we're going to break down that too. What you'll still pay is you would still pay the fund for the local school districts, which are usually about 35 to 45% of your bill. The impact most homeowners will see is that their tax bills will drop about 55 to 65% starting in January 1st of 2027, if it passes. Remember that part, if it passes. Now here's the catch. The local governments, which this is what I thought was going to be a problem too. The catch is local governments, cities, counties will lose an estimated of 14 to 18 billion in revenue to the public. The bill includes the clause that prohibits cutting police fire budgets, meaning the services such as parks, libraries, road repairs would face a brunt of cuts, which means this could also increase those. So be aware of that. That could cause an increase. I always thought this could pose an issue, because then okay, what's going to happen with local government? Will we have control? Will we lose control? What's all going to happen when it comes to obliterating it? Part of me is okay, would we end up putting it on, and now I'm going to go way too far ahead, but would we start putting this on renters? Would we start putting this on, snowbirds, people who only live here part of the year, rather than it being one of the homestead properties? So this will be interesting. Another thing on the ballot is HJR 203. Now, this is the 10-year phase out, the glide path. This is more moderate version of the elimination designed to prevent a shock into cities' budgets, which this may actually work a little bit better, but let's keep going into it. So the change, instead of 100% cut from day one, it increases your property tax exemption for non-school taxes and by $100,000 every year for 10 years. That makes more sense. So I remember back in the day, I think it was 2020. It's I think right before 2020, it might've been 2019. And they were talking about raising the minimum wage. There we go. And everyone's yeah, I want minimum wage range. Well, that can't come really, really fast. It's going to take time. And so I personally think that always going into something smooth and steady makes more sense. If you guys have me on social media, you'll see that I'm building a team. Slow and steady sets the pace because we want to keep quality, right? Well, we want to keep quality as well. But let's talk about the reality. Reality, since the median home price in Florida, not here, is around 350. Yeah, St. Johns County, I'm be completely blunt and honest with you guys. It is not that. It's around about 500,000 is the median price range for here. But most residents would effectively stop paying non-school property taxes by the third or fourth year around. So 2030, you'd be about done with that. So the goal, if this city glide path to find new ways to fund themselves, like higher sales tax and fees, that's what I really see is happening rather than billions overnight. I can see this being an impact. So I don't know how you guys feel if you like one over the other. But personally, I think just a 10-year phase out would make more sense. I think it'd leave less damage along the way. And I don't think that, because, okay, say that they obliterate it all. We're going to have a crazy amount of sales tax and fees increase. And we don't want that. It's going to feel like just where you're coming from or watching from, if it's not in the state of Florida. And so we want to make sure we don't have that. But there's also another plan that they have proposed, which is a 3-year assessment reset. This proposal changes how 3% of the Save Our Homes cap, which we'll talk about shortly, works and to make taxes more predictable. That should happen. I don't know if you guys have purchased yet or are looking at purchasing. We're going to go into Homestead about this, but because I can go on a whole entire rant because some people think that what their property taxes are their property taxes. Sometimes new construction does not escrow you enough property taxes. So planning ahead is very, very smart. And that's why I tell you guys the 33% rule when you're purchasing homes too. So we make sure that if any of those things do happen, but off my soapbox for a second, because we're going to get right back on it. But okay, this Save Our Homes Act and having a 3-year assessment reset. Now, the current law, your home's value is reassessed every year and your tax can go up by a maximum of 3%. Now, that's if it's homesteaded. Okay. Proposed change for non-school property taxes. The property appraiser will only determine your taxable value once every 3 years. The maximum increase over that entire 3-year period will be capped at 3% total. That would be great because then it's not every year based on what it is. And also the market changes. Like we're just coming out of a weird period. Last year was so strange. But now we're getting back into like more of a balanced market here in St. Johns County. So I could see that working specifically for our area in Northeast Florida, not speaking for the South or the West or the whatever part of Florida you're from, but Northeast, I could see that really working. The benefit, it is a slow creep of tax increases during the hot real estate years, essentially freezing your value for at least 3 years at a time. That'd be very helpful. So fun fact. I love how I have these little facts that I give myself while I'm really late at night studying for you guys. But fun fact that I wanted to mention is that the House Joint Resolutions means if they pass the legislation, the voters decide in November of 26, and they need about a 60% yes vote for it to become a law. Fun fact. Okay, so why does this matter for 2026? Let's talk about that a little bit. Bill represents the fundamental shift on how, honestly, Florida is going to fully function in a whole. So let's talk about the pro argument, and then we'll talk a little bit about the con. And of course, if you ever want to chime in, please chime in. And if there's any details that you didn't understand in that, please comment below so then I can get more information to explain it to you guys and find the best way to explain it. But okay, pro argument, this ends the government rent. So some say that you never truly own your home if the government takes unpaid taxes. I would completely agree. Like it does feel like, especially for like our vets or those who are already struggling to make their bills. And it's like, okay, our home's paid off and now we're still paying these property taxes that are astronomical. And, some people just can't afford it anymore and who need government help and everything like that. So I think that it would really help, and it just doesn't make sense, especially with, I don't know if you guys are looking for another area. Most likely the neighborhoods that you love have C to D fee. So that's just in addition to the property taxes you already have. Okay. It combats inflation. Massive tax cuts help offset. Jesus. Hold on. Let me take a sip of this. Oh, that's good. Okay. A massive tax cuts help offset the skyrocketing costs of property insurance and groceries. It will definitely help with inflation because with your monthly payments, your annual payments being lower, this will definitely help you guys. Also, when tax season comes around, you're not being slammed like we typically are, especially during this time of year right after Christmas. They really planned that out horribly. There shouldn't be before Christmas, but then I guess we would spend it all, right? It attracts buyers. So no property taxes makes Florida even a bigger magnet for wealth and also relocation. Now you can take that how you want because I know some people are like, don't New York my Florida, don't whatever my Florida. I will help you whatever you need to do to my Florida. Because at the end of the day, I know exactly why you're moving here. A lot of my people are moving here for the exact same reasons why people love being here. And the people who don't want to be here because of the reasons you think that they're like going to change your Florida, they're not going to change your Florida. They have the same mindset you do. And the other ones, oh, they leave. I don't know. That's just my theory on it that I've noticed in people. But let's talk about the con. Let's talk about the negatives of this. Now, it could be budget shortfalls. So critics and local mayors warn that this will lead to a crumbling infrastructure and fewer local services. This could possibly be an issue where this could affect local businesses. It could affect construction. A lot of things could be impacted by this, but there's pros and cons to everything. But I could definitely see where this could even impact even our local government, like we've talked about. The tax shift, cities may raise taxes on renters and businesses. Who doesn't get these exemptions to pay bills? So that's what I was kind of talking about. Like, I wonder if it really would shift to renters. And that's what's kind of hard too, because I feel like I have two different buyers. I have buyers who are like, we'll just rent because we don't want to take the liability of anything. And now they're going to have increased prices, which they technically do. Just saying, like, realistically, I own rental property and I no longer can homestead that property. I did have to increase my rent when our taxes went up. So technically they are getting it, but I don't know how they're going to kind of tie it in, if there's going to be some type of state renters tax or whatever it's going to be. If this is to pass, it's going to be really interesting. And it does break my heart that it would impact businesses because I feel like this is something that's really going to impact the little guys. It's going to impact the small businesses. It's not going to be the big businesses. It's not going to be the super Targets, the super Walmarts. It's going to be the little guys. It's going to be that adorable coffee shop that you love down the road, or that really good ice cream shop that you guys get ice cream at every Sunday. Those are the people who are probably going to be impacted the most, unfortunately, through this. Higher home prices. Yeah, because they can't. I don't know how they can get any higher. At least I'm saying that in the field. Like, I literally don't know how they can get higher sometimes. But removing taxes increases buying power, which could drive home prices even higher for first-time home buyers, which completely breaks my heart for you guys. But that's why I save you guys a lot of money along the way. So just so you know, now you know. Okay, so I did ask for a little bit of a breakdown of like, what would be a good summary to like understand exactly. Okay, here we go. If HJR 201 makes it into our ballots this November, it's going to be a battle. It's basically saying that if you live in your house, your city, your country and county, AI, can't tax you anymore. Only the school board can. For most of you, it's like getting a 60% discount on your taxes starting in 2027. But keep your eyes open because the state says cities cannot cut police or fire budgets. You might see yourself trying to get money back from higher trash fees, parking tickets. Oh, I don't park well. Sales tax. There's so much that we need to think about, and there's no such thing as a free lunch, even in Florida. There's not. There's always an obligation. But it'll be really interesting to see what ends up happening on the ballot. I really don't know what's gonna happen. I personally, out of hearing all 3, I like the 10-year phase out. I think that's the one that's probably gonna do the less, like, whiplash, but let me know what you guys think in the comments too. But we're gonna go on to our next topic, which we're gonna be talking about something huge, something that will save you a ton of money if you bought a home last year. And if you're buying a home this year, if you're buying a home with me this year, I bother the heck out of you. If you bought a home last year, you got a letter in the mail because I'm bothering the heck out of you and I've called you. So, March 2nd, there is a deadline, an urgent deadline. Honestly, I'm just going to tell you February 28th if you don't have this done by. Please do not call me by March 1st, March 2nd, or anything like that, freaking out that you didn't do it. This is a huge piece that you guys need to know about. Do you know what I'm talking about? If you don't, I'm disappointed. It's okay. I'm not really disappointed. But homestead exemption. So your homestead exemption is due. This is if you bought a home last year. If you're buying a home this year, Grace, you would homestead exempt it by next year. So you'll get a letter from me and a text and call and everything like that. I'll bother you. But this is honestly the big thing about saving money and owning a home here in Northeast Florida, and honestly in Florida in general, is we have homestead exemption. Now, the date is March 2nd. So usually the homestead deadline is March 1st, but because March 1st is on a Sunday, the official deadline is Monday, March 2nd, which as I'm talking to you, it is not. It is going to be February, what is that, 27th? February 27th. Get it done. Come on, get in there. Also, you don't want to be last to get it done because everyone's not going to have this call. Everyone's going to arrive at the same time. So make sure you get it in there. Okay. The warning is that if you bought your home in 2025 and the previous owners, Save Our Homes, wiped away as of January 1st. So that means like if the previous owners, if you bought an established home, the previous owners had homestead exemption. Oh my gosh, praise the previous owners for you. Thank you, Jesus. But you're going to get taxed. Basically, you're going to see what the taxes look like for them. But then as soon as you go into your new year, guess what? You own that property. So guess what? If you didn't homestead exempt it, your taxes are going to go. That's what happened to us. We had actually owners who did not homestead the property. They just lived here. Don't know why they didn't homestead. Probably because they didn't have me as an agent. But didn't homestead the property. And so it literally dramatically changed our monthly mortgage payment, like by $1,000. It was wild. And we had to wait a whole entire year in order to be homestead exempted again, because this was our personal property. So we did homestead exempt it in the right time. And we'll talk about everything you need for that. So I don't want you guys to start paying more outside your means. But again, this is why we have that 33% buffer that we talked about. But the huge benefit is John's property taxes is not bad. Yeah, true. I will say so if you guys are paying attention to the chat, definitely CDDs are definitely hitting a little bit harder for people, and especially in neighborhoods that are a little over, if it's over 3,000. I have a lot of people. I have nosy Nellies. I'm a nosy Nelly too. And we like to look at what other people paid. So if we're looking at resales in the community, we're like, how much is their property taxes? The CDD is rolled up in that thing. Like that's right there. So if you're seeing someone with $10,000 of property taxes, most likely they have a CDD fee. And if you don't know where to find that, I'm happy to find it for you. Okay. But the benefit is that filing for homestead, it doesn't give you a $50,000. It doesn't give you $50,000 exemption. It locks you in. Just give you a $50,000 exemption. Y'all, I'm tongue twisted today. It's probably because this is my first cup of coffee all day and it's 8 p.m. But you get a $50,000 homestead exemption. We'll talk about that shortly. And it locks you into your value over 3 years. So if you're a first-time home buyer, listen closely, or even if you just moved to the area, or possibly if you just owned a home last year and it was homesteaded and you moved, there's this thing called portability. So let's put our listening ears on and we're going to hear about this amazing thing, how you guys can save a ton of money. So homestead exemption isn't just a tax break. It's your defense against Florida's rising home prices. So if you're upset about how the prices keep going up, why don't you just save yourself in taxes, headache, all that kind of stuff. But it takes $50,000 off of your home's taxable value right away. But the secret sauce is the Save Our Homes cap. And that's what they were talking about in that third option as well. But it ensures that your home's even if the value doubles and over the next 5 years, you're capped off. So they're not going to keep assessing your house like they do every single year and you're having to pay more. So it actually caps you off where you're actually not going to go to that astronomical number. It'll cap you right there. But remember, it's not automatic. You do have to go through the county and you have to do this yourself, or you're going to be paying the tourist rate of having it. But think of it as like a VIP pass that people who actually live in Florida full time have legal status to apply through the county appraiser's office, which I will have a link in the description where you guys can sign up if you purchased a house last year. And then if you're purchasing a house this year, you can't apply yet if you're not done building yet. But you need to make sure that your license gets swapped over before then too. But let's talk about some major benefits that it does have automatically with the homestead exemption. And I just thought this would be a perfect time to talk about homestead exemption because one, it's on the bill. Two, the time of year you guys need to be filling that thing out. And three, I like to save you guys money. Okay. I count on it. And I should start counting how much I save people with homestead exemption. But the immediate discount right off the bat is the $50,000. So that's very helpful when it comes, that's your assessed market value. And so that's not your actual purchase price when you're purchasing the home. It's not like, okay, you buy your home for $650 and they're not calculating your property taxes based on that. Now, if we're out and we're shopping, sometimes I'll give you that number. So then you have that buffer if you forget, but you have that buffer, but it will be lower typically. So it's 1.25%. And then it can be about 1.07 with the homestead exemption, but don't take my word for it. I'm not a property tax person, but I give you guys rough numbers so then you guys understand, which I always tell people, honestly, just do the 1.25%. But you get that discount on there. Another way of doing it is the assessed market value. It depends on who your appraiser is and how they do everything, but typically it's about, I'd say 75 to 85% of the actual value of your home, how much you purchase it for. But that's that. And how it works. Okay. Basically, if your home is worth $400,000, the state exempts $50,000. You only pay taxes on what your home would be worth, which would be the $350,000. Note, the first $25,000 applies to all taxes, including schools, and the second $25,000 applies to everything except school taxes. Fun fact. Okay, the Save Our Home Shield, the real moneymaker. We all know we love that. We love saving money. Keep it in our pocket. This is the most important one for first-time home buyers. Once you homestead exempt, your home's assessed value, the city's taxes, is locked in behind you as a shield. The 3% cap, by law, you are then taxed on and it could increase no more than 3% per year, no matter how much the real estate market explodes. So if you were homestead exempted before 2020, congratulations. Your home value went up, but your property taxes didn't. Might have caught up with you by now, though, just saying. Especially with how it is. I do see a lot more people selling now since the big explosion. So maybe now we'll see like the difference happening. But why does this matter? If your neighbor's value goes up 15% in 1 year and your neighbors don't have homestead, they will see a massive tax hike because you have the shield. You will only be billed a maximum of 3%. Exciting. Who likes saving money? Anyone else? Just me? I love saving money, you guys. It's my favorite thing. I'll go to a store and if I can get something on discount, I want something on discount. If we go to new construction, they say, oh, we can give you this. I'm like, I want more. I just always do. I feel like everything in life is just too expensive. So why not just save money where we can? That's just my personal opinion. Okay. So the new buyer trap, you should definitely be warned to not make this mistake as a first-time home buyer. The ghost of the previous owner. That's what happened to me, bro. Okay. So, with the first-time home buyer, when you buy it in the previous property, tax bill does not have the homestead exemption. If they live there for over 20 years and their taxes are super, super low, that's because they're on a 3% cap. But if they weren't, they're not getting assessed properly. Like they were not assessed properly. And I think like that's where I have like the biggest thing where when I nosy buyers go out there and they're starting to look at people's property taxes and the people have owned it since 1913, like yeah, they bought it for 50 cents. Like no joke. It's going to be different. It's going to look different. And that's why you should always have an agent who's going to walk through what that looks like for you. And if I don't directly know, I promise you, I will call someone and I'll get a direct answer because I just give you rough numbers because I do enough to get myself in trouble. And then I'm like, him, and I'll just point you over there. Okay, so this shock on January 1st, after you buy a house, the old cap dies. And this will happen to us literally $1,000 different, you guys. But make sure you're not in the situation and you have that because that was a year of that. God, that sucked. Yes, it was not enough escrowed. Felt like a knife. But now $1,000 difference. Praise him. Praise Jesus. Now we have actual money. But how exactly do you apply? Now I'm saying I'm going to have a QR code below, but like there's a lot of things that you need to know about how to apply for homestead exemption, because don't make the mistake that a lot of people make where they immediately close and they think that they could just go ahead and go. And like, they're like, oh, everything's great. So fun fact one, they do need to have everything documented first. So it's going to take about 30 days for everything to be documented within the property taxes too, within the tax info page where I get all my information of the houses and how much someone paid or anything like that. It takes about 30 days for that to go into the system, depending on the time of year. But what you'll need is you'll need your driver's license, and it must show your new home address. So that could not be your old driver's license, your renter's driver's license, or anything like that. You will need to make sure that you have that updated. What's great, especially if you're in St. Johns County, at the St. Johns County tax collector's office, what you could do, stay downstairs, take a number, get your picture taken, go upstairs to the property appraiser's office and get everything taken care of for you. A Florida voter's registration. You also need your vehicle registration and your social security number. But those are the items that you'd really need. If you were able to already have your driver's license, so say that you switched over to the address, you're going to wait the 30 days, you're going to do everything because you could technically get your license changed as long as you have like mail coming to that location. After that, you should be solid and you can go do it online. What you can do online, fun fact, portability. You can do the portability online. So that's really great. I went in person personally because, again, I changed my driver's license because that is required. Topic number 3. Okay, so we're going to be talking about holding and selling, pros and cons. Does it make sense to sell your property, keep your property, have it go, all that fun stuff? Now, in regards to keeping, holding strategy, really honestly staying here, or if you have an exit strategy. But we're going to first talk about if you are in a holding pattern, a pro that you are locked in. So say that the HJR 201 ends up passing in November 26th, your bill will actually probably drop by 60% in 2027. I don't even know what I would do with myself. Like, honestly, probably actually, I wonder if we'll see more home sales. Just curious because they could still do portability. So this will be interesting to see. I like your way of thinking. I use Gemini. I like your way of thinking. Okay, so another pro is the Save Our Homes cap is the best deal in the country for longtime owners. Well, cheers to Florida. But no, it really is. Like, I mean, in general, we have one of the best. That's why people stay here. That's why they move here. That's why they don't care about the C2D fees, because we have these amazing homestead exemptions that make it seem way cheaper than other states. Okay. But then there is a con for holding. We have a con for holding. Look at this. Insurance is still an invisible tax. Even if property taxes go down, rise of insurance might eat those savings. It's a really good point. I will tell you, I think insurance is a big topic, and I think I want to bring like an actual insurance agent for you guys to chat about it. But I think with insurance specifically, everyone's like, oh my gosh, insurance in Florida is so expensive. It's really actually not that expensive, but it's in regards to the location. So we're in Northeast Florida, and everyone always is asking about hurricanes and alligators all the time. We don't have an alligator hurricane, like a Sharknado situation. We don't have that. But no, seriously, we really honestly don't typically get hit as hard as the west coast of Florida, the south end of Florida. Their insurance premiums are a bit higher than ours. And also it depends on how close you are to the beach as well, how old your property is, all your 4 points, your roof, HVAC, electric, water heater, all that kind of stuff. Plumbing. There we go. So there's a lot of different reasons that impact your insurance, but I will tell you, if you buy new construction, they are always lower. always lower. I think that the lowest I've even seen $1,000 a year for insurance for new construction. So just saying. All right, so let's talk about the exit strategy. So say that you're going to sell, you're just going to leave. You're like, bye, Florida. All right, well, sounds good. Well, what's going to happen is the cash out at the peak. Many homeowners have 50% equity since 2020. If they've owned it since then, if you just bought your house last year, don't think that you have 50% equity because you don't. I'll give you a CMA and I'll show you. But the cons of leaving Florida is that you will lose your portability. If you leave Florida, you lose that accumulated tax savings. So you lose all that savings. You don't want that, do you? Nope, because you'll come right back. I just had that happen to one of my clients. It was really sad. They stayed here, they left, but they came back. And I was like, oh. But hey, now they love it here. They've been here for like 2 years now. Another con is, where do you go? With high rates, high prices, trading in the Florida experience currently is very expensive. Maybe. It depends on where. Because there's videos. I don't know if you guys see videos like on my social media and everything like that. I always see people in Texas and stuff and like with these mansions, but I guess they're in the middle of nowhere too. But I did have 2 questions for you guys, but I also have answers to those questions in regards to this. So if they eliminate property taxes, how will they pay police and fire? Well, every single one of the bills, like HJR 201, includes a law enforcement protection clause. It actually prohibits local governments from cutting police fire budget. In reality, they would look a little bit like the cuts to the parks, libraries, roadways, and potentially raising sales tax to fill in the gap, which personally, not a fan of raising those sales tax. I think right now we're at 6.5% sales tax. I do not want to see that go up. All right. Another question. I am a renter. Do these changes help me? Actually, that's kind of the point we're talking about. Most of these proposals significantly target homesteaded properties. So primary residents, renters might actually see their rents go up because landlords, non-homestead exempted property owners might be taxed more and have to make up the revenue with the cities of losing their property owners. Oof. So I'm curious. Like, what do you guys think about everything going on? Do you know what's going on? Are you excited about this? Are you going to vote for this? Are you not going to vote for this? Is this another perk of living in Florida if it does end up happening? And how do you feel about that being another perk about living in Florida? Are you excited about it? Or are you upset about it? Are you saying, no, we have enough. Please go away. We're full. I have so many people who say that to me. But great news. We're actually not full. And if you are interested in relocating to the area because these amazing possibilities, or just in general having the homestead exemption as an option to save money, I mean, it's a no-brainer. I have so many people who are just like, well, that just makes so much more sense. Or they'll look into those CDD communities because it's more affordable, or they're not paying $800 for gas or anything like that just to keep their house heated. And then they're also not dealing with any sense of like local government issues or anything like that. So that's why a lot of people relocate here is the schools, the location, the communities, the lifestyle, the beach, the savings, no state tax. There's so many good things about living here. And I love helping families relocate. My name is Amy Judd. I've been a long-term resident, literally my whole entire life. We'll just say my age, for 32 years. I was born at Flagler Hospital. My goal is to help you guys feel like a local in no time, but truly helping you. I have guides and resources that have pediatricians, doctors, urgent cares, anything that you would need all in one, at the same time as developing a friendship, developing a relationship where we could really connect and talk more, where you guys have this scary big move be just a little bit easier. But that's all I have today. And if you guys have questions, really, if you're watching this back and you're curious about what's going on, or you have an opinion what's going on, let me know. But this is a really interesting topic, and I'm curious to see what's going to happen in November. But until next time, I'm Demi Judd, and I'll see you.